Happy evening. On behalf of the Board of Directors as well as the trustees, I extend a very cordial and warm welcome to Shri S.S. Rajamouli, Shri Rajiv Menon, and Shobu Yarlagadda. May I request you to take the dais, please? Please. At the outset, I would like to thank Shobu for coordinating this entire event, because it was in the last, I think, 1 month, we were trying to put together the event with all three of them traveling internationally and I traveling domestically, trying to put together a date and then trying to put together how to have the event. So thank you so much for that. Sir, at CIC, we have been having a lot of interesting talks here. The intent was that about a year ago we started. We thought that it will be a mind spa. Bring in speakers in various fields who have excelled themselves. Originally, we thought that we should restrict ourselves only to those who have been some roots in Chennai. So, but then we thought that it should become a pan-India one, just like your pan-India movie. So, to that extent, the first speaker was Nandan Nilankari, and then we had Nirmala Sitharaman, we had Vijaya Amritraj, we had Anand, from various fields we had. Cinema was one of the topics when we first thought that what should be the topics on which we should be having these discussions on. Cinema was one of the topics. And we were debating for a long time amongst the trustees how we should start, with whom we should start. But then we thought that what best way to start than with the makers of this pan-India blockbuster. So a big hand for all of you. In the last 3 years probably, I think I entered the cinema theatre only twice, and that too to see only your movies. And oh, you too? Okay. I'm sure quite a few who haven't entered the theatre for a long time, because you are used to watching TV on the, movies on the TV, where you have control of the remote. Because invariably, the movies have been all along formula type of movies. Well, I think the last movie was on a flashback mode. So I would like to take you to a small flashback for a very interesting conversation long time ago. My father-in-law, he was a very successful film producer. He produced a lot of Telugu movies. Adavi Ramudu was one big hit. Then Mahan, one Hindi movie. He had this very interesting conversation with Ramoji Rao, when Ramoji Rao wanted to enter the movie field. So they had this conversation, I was just watching. Ramoji Rao said that you guys have got your entire plot wrong. You create a hero, you first fix a hero, and then you work around the entire movie around that hero. You don't have a story in place also. You first book the hero. Then the rest comes in place. He said this is completely wrong. The base of a movie should be the story. I think you, sir, have aptly brought to light that a movie has to be successful. It is the story which runs, not the hero. I think it's great that what you have done for the Indian cinema. We are all fascinated to learn from both of you, you and Shobu, as to how you came forward, what was the idea, how it germinated, and the fascinating way you went ahead, the picturesque locales and technical excellence of the movie. I think all our audience is eagerly waiting for. We were a little disappointed when Shobu just told me that you are not having any slides. But then I think you are going to compensate it more than that. Rajamouli sir, you have been the director calling the shots all along. But this evening, it will be Rajiv who will call the shots. So, on to you, Rajiv.
Thanks, Prakash, and welcome to uh, the evening. And so it's a bit of a brainstorming session, and like everybody in the audience was very curious 4 months back, why did Kattappa kill Bahubali? We are very, very curious about some things. And we wanted to know, I mean, what is your source of inspiration? How did you hit upon this idea? I mean, was it the kind of comic books you read, the mythology, or the films you said? What was your inspiration to come up with Bahubali?
First of all, a big thank you for having us here in a hall full of achievers. It feels very odd to be sitting in the spotlight, but hope this is just a transfer of our experiences rather than anything else. It's all of them what you mentioned. The biggest source of inspiration is the Amar Chitra Kathas, right from our childhood, and Ramayanas and Mahabharatas, and all the Hollywood epics, especially Braveheart. Mel Gibson's movies I'm a big fan of, and a lot of inspiration from the Vijaya movies, Vijaya Vahini Studios. Those all these things have been inspiration from right from my childhood. But why Kattappa killed Bahubali is not an inspiration of anything, and the biggest joke is we never thought it would be such a big hit. That particular sequence, we never thought. I thought it was just a nice poetic hook at the end. I didn't think that it would catch the imagination of the audience in such a big way and make them wait for 2 years. I really didn't expect that.
Great. I think, one of the experiences that I had, I think when it was Cyclone Huddle, Rajamouli, in between making Bahubali, wanted to do something for society. So between shooting a huge chase sequence with cattle, he comes up with an idea to do something for it. So he tells Shobu, and then Shobu calls me and saying that he is shooting Bahubali, but he wants to do something for cyclone relief. So can you come and execute this ad film? And I was shocked to come and meet him, and he was this absolutely down-to-earth man who was shooting the biggest film, but he had all the time and all the grace to explain as he did right now, and that's what makes it unique. In an industry with inflated egos, with geniuses misbehaving themselves, Rajamouli is an aberration. He is a gentleman, and the man sitting next to him is a greater gentleman that I've known, and these two gentle souls have made the biggest hit, which is absolutely unheard of. So fantastic, and so when this Rajamouli comes up with you and tells you there's going to be Mahismriti and there's going to be 1,000 warriors fighting it out and they're going to be flying in the air and all this thing, what did you think? What's going to be the budget? How many days of shooting are you going to do? How many extras? How are you going to do it? So did you lose a little bit of hair? How did you solve this problem?
I think over the 5 years I lost a lot of hair, that's for sure. But it didn't start with one big number as a budget or a story. It was an incremental progress. We knew at the beginning itself that it was going to be a big film. And when we started with the story and the thing, we knew it was going to be a long haul. But the time it took, the number of days it took, and the amount of money that we had to spend eventually was not what we thought we would. If we knew that was going to be, we wouldn't have started the whole this thing. So it wasn't a shocker, it was a gentle shock treatment, not one big shock.
This sounds like people building a house. You always start with 1 crore and then you end up with
Exactly.
2.5 and it's going and the sofa has not come and the cupboard has not come.
It's exactly like that.
So when you guys, how did you guys decide to meet up? I mean, you were doing serials in Oriya and Kannada, and you were doing numerous productions, and you were questioning the star system in Andhra and making heroes out of houseflies. So both of you are not quintessential white and white wearing 555 or matka silk wearing Telugu producers. I'm sure the industry would have called and told you guys have gone mad. You're finished. You are going to grow broke. What did they tell you?
Nobody told us on our face, luckily, but but I think that was definitely going on in the background that we definitely lost it, and Rajamouli is taking me for a ride and both together. So that was always there. But we started as a television company. So we still are a television production house. So after doing many years of television, we wanted to venture into making films. I had, prior to making our own projects, we did a lot of line production for other films. So then the only person that I was very comfortable with and I knew very well and I could trust was Rajamouli. So I slowly went to him and said, can we do a small, he was, after Magadhira, he wanted to do a small film. So I had suggested, I went and approached him and said, can we do a small piece? You're doing a small film, you want to do a small film, can we produce it for you, together? So that's when the relationship started, the professional relationship. So that did well, and then subsequently it was that we wanted to do a bigger film, and that's how Bahubali happened. So, that's it.
Fantastic. So you wanted to do one film. So which one of you came up with this idea of part 1 and part 2? How did you, I mean, studios dream of sequels. You started itself with a sequel. So how did you do that?
The idea was not to do as a sequel or anything. My father is a story writer. He narrated me the characters, which were very exciting, and we started putting a plot together, and it started growing bigger and bigger, and eventually we knew that it was not going to happen in a 3-hour movie. Even if you stretch it, it's not going to happen in a 3-hour movie. And then we started chopping out scenes to make it a 3-hour movie, and we could see it was not working. So the only way to make the story is to make it into a 2-part film. It's not like a great marketing decision. That's the only way to make this story. So, and at the time I had a discussion with Shobu and Prasad, his partner, and I said, see, this is not going to happen in the budget that we are thinking it will. It's going to be a 2-part movie, if at all, if we make it. And it's okay. We worked for about 2-3 months by the time. I can drop the project aside and make a comfortable, regular commercial film, which happens in 2.5 hours. They said, no, let's go ahead with this itself. It might be a great idea even to make it in a 2-part movie, if the first one does well. So we did a little bit of contemplation, but all of us were okay with doing it as a 2-part movie.
So when you create an idea, which is in some ways, where do you sit and create it? I mean, in the everybody is very curious in Bombay. They want to be a fly in the Rajamouli household because the father writes, the uncle scores music, the son directs, and then the wife does costume. So all this comes about in the dining table. How do these decisions come about?
Yeah, a lot of it happens in the family and within the house. I sit in my house, in my room, or walking upstairs, or most of the idea happens there. Mostly early in the morning. And my wife is my first bouncing board. So whatever ideas come to my mind, I bounce with her. Then I have my father, like you said. I have my cousin, and I have my children. My cousin's children, so many people to bounce the ideas around. And one biggest advantage is all of them, all my family members are very highly critical. So even if they don't like a small part of a sequence which I'm explaining them, they will rip it apart. So that's a big advantage. So it happens in the family.
So one thing is happening inside the family, and you have such a big family support, and then you've got this completely different gentleman who's done environmental engineering in America, who has come into you, and you guys collaborate. So where do you draw the red line? I mean, what is his responsibility, what's your responsibility, what's our responsibility? How do you not infringe upon each other? Because, you know, a lot of decisions are being made, 2-part, 1-part, crores this way, that way, nobody believes, no star. I mean, yet, there must be some things which you say that, yeah, it's Rajamouli's call, and there are some things which you say is Shobu's call. How do you guys differentiate between each
The
other?
simplest thing is anything that's creative is my call. Anything that has to do with the finance is his call. So that's as simple as that. He doesn't interfere into the creatives. Of course, he will tell whatever his feelings are. And I don't interfere with where he's raising the finances, what is the rate of interest, where they are selling the movie, how much they are selling the movie. I don't interfere into that. Of course, I'll be asking them, but it's not interference in the sense I don't dictate terms, information like that. And things which cross over, like I would want a particular technician who costs so much. So that is the area where we both need to discuss. So that's the time when that we will have a little bit of discussion, like whether that much of money is okay with him or not, or whether can I suggest another technician or another way of doing that at a lower cost. So that is the area which is we have a discussion.
So I think the moral of the story for this group is that please have your discussions not in your boardroom, in a dining room hall. Please sound out your ideas with your wife and children. And then more importantly, respect what your CFO tells you and leave the CFO to decide on that. And the CEO is not a dictator. He doesn't make this thing, and you need to have the conciliatory approach. Okay, that's great management lesson coming across. So, so during production, you know, how did you decide on this cast? Because, you know, Prabhas hadn't done a film for a long time. Rana Dugapati is not, I mean, he's a tall guy, but he wasn't the star, you know. And then how do you get this cast together? Because you had worked with the stars, and then you had got, and who's going to commit to this kind of date? How did you arrive at these characters and these people will come together? And then you were looking at South Indian actors. Why didn't you think of Salman Khan's or any of these things? Because you had actually, in some ways, gone ahead, fought and demolished box office records of these so-called, superstars. So, but how did you cast and how did you pull this together?
Let me go a little bit back on that. I always think in terms of how I used to watch films as a child. What would draw me to the theater as a child, as even a teenager. The first point that would draw me to the theater is the star. I would go to the film if it is an NTR film. I'll go to the theater if it's a Chiranjeevi film. No. Whether it's a big mega production, whether it has a story, whether it's a director. I didn't even know who the director was at that time. So on the poster, the star is the most important person for me to go to a theater. After I go to the theater, it's not always I enjoy the movie. Just because of the star, I don't enjoy the movie. I enjoy some movies, I don't enjoy some of them. I get irritated with some of the movies, even if it is NTR or Chiranjeevi. So that is where the story comes into play. So we should very clearly understand that star system is a very strong crowd puller, but story is what makes you sit in the theater and enjoy it. So you need to have both. It's not like I don't care for the stars, I don't need the stars, I can do magic with the story. It's not like that. You need both. You need both. So that is something unconsciously goes into my mind. And coming to the casting for this particular subject, you can't take this as a Bahubali as a standard approach for all films. This is a completely out of the box film, out of the box thought. The relationship I had with Shobu was for 10 years before that. He knew me as an just upcoming director. I knew him as just a guy who stepped into the industry. And he saw me working, I saw him working. We never had an idea that we were going to work together 10 years later. Then we worked on a smaller project, Maryada Ramanna, together. And he saw my working style, I saw his working style. Our families knew each other well. Our families get along well. So you can't apply this thought as a standard for all the productions. And my relationship with Prabhas is entirely different. Apart from him being a hero and me being a director, we are very close friends. We are very good friends, and we connect very well. Our ideologies sync very well. So there are so many uniques for this project. And coming to the casting, except for Prabhas, who was there in the project right from the beginning, even before his character was fully developed. All other characters are like, as we were developing the story, we just look around who is the best guy to suit that. When we developed Ballal Deva, we couldn't think of anyone else apart from Rana. It's not about a star. We had that character very clearly etched, and we just couldn't visualize anyone else. In the same way, Dev Sena, if I just ask you now, can you tell me any other actor who can play Dev Sena? Whether north or south, except Anushka. So that is how, based on the character, we started putting in who is the best person to play that character, who is the best actor to play the character. So that is how the casting happened. Of course, for some characters we thought, because we are going beyond the budget, we are making a 2-part film, should we look beyond South industry? Should we look for some North Indian actors? We did look for some North Indian actors, and luckily for us, it didn't happen. So luck plays a part there also. Luckily, it didn't happen, and yeah, that's how the casting happened.
There comes the ultimate casting. We were just talking about casting and how you got cast, and you walk in. What timing? So what were your worries, Shobu? I mean, number of days, number of people. How do you do this kind of planning? How do you approach it?
For the lots of worries as a producer, the biggest worry is releasing the film on the promised date, on the scheduled date, because you can't miss the release date. But for the first part had a different set of issues or concerns, and the second part had a different set of concerns. So first part was mainly about escalating budgets and how you optimize the funds, and how do you raise the money when it's escalating, and how far should you go with not having a proven, nothing has been proven till date. Nothing has done this kind of business, or no project had done this kind of business. So how do you justify it, and how far do you go? What is the thing? But once you cross a certain budget, everything is beyond. There's no. So it's either you go all the way, there's only one option. You have to go all the way. There's no point pulling the plug there at halfway point. Whether you spend 200 crores or 300 crores, people are not going to come and say, see the film because you spent 200 crores. Ultimately, it has to reflect in the on screen, and for that you need to go all the way. So those were the challenges of whether how do you keep going, how do you keep drawing the strength to keep going. And I think in that, that was like he mentioned earlier, Rajamouli mentioned, the trust that we share, and knowing that every rupee that is being spent is going towards making a great product that will be shown on screen, and more than anything else. I think that kept us going. So I think these were the main challenges, more than, of course, the logistics of it, putting everything together, making it happen, making sure that the schedules are on time, the planning, or what we should plan for the schedule happens. Those are all actually, for this project, massive. And we had an amazing line producer in Valli who would make sure that things happen. So those were all, can be handled, or there were people to handle. But I think the biggest was about finance and making sure that the money was well spent, and how we raise it, and how we ultimately, whether it will be successful or not.
The point is, when the depth of the water is more than 10 feet, it doesn't matter if it's a swimming pool, or the Kaveri River, or the Bay of the Bengal, or the Atlantic Ocean. No,
Absolutely, and shark-infested waters. But the other amazing thing, I think, is how do you keep a group together for 5 years? Look at the Indian team. They're great players. suddenly they are all winning, and then now you're saying that coach is not the captain, coach, that's happening. And you guys kept a team together of 160, 200 people together for 5 years. What kind of psychoanalysis was going on? What kind of counseling was going on? How did you do it? And keep the morale up?
And actually, some people actually shifted base from Bombay and Madras to Hyderabad with their families to for those 5 years. No, I think everybody was enjoying the process. I think that was the biggest thing. Enjoying their work, and knew they were doing something. They were getting an opportunity to do something that won't come easily for them again. And it was once in a lifetime opportunity. And they knew that, and they appreciated that. And I think that was one of the biggest things that kept everybody going. And as the project was progressing, and you see the visuals and you see the work in front of you, as the sets are being erected and as the visual effects are coming through, I think that was hugely motivating for whether it's the artists or the talent to see their work being reflected on a scale that they've never seen before, on a technical excellence that was not done before. And it was definitely, I think that's what kept them motivated and challenged. It was also the challenge that they were pushing themselves, challenging themselves to do something bigger, better than they've never done in their career before. So I think all this kept them together. And of course, we are lucky that we got all very good people, excellent people, and I think it all fell in place.
I think it's again great human relationships putting together. But this film is also technically one of the most advanced films we are looking at. There's a lot of real stuff. There's a lot of animatronics. There's what do you call models, miniatures, VFX. So how did you really visualize? How much did you know the technology was there? How much were you searching out? How did you overcome these various technical problems?
Visual effects wise, there was one interesting incident during my earlier film, Yamadonga. We were trying to do a Vishwarupam of the Yama. So we were looking at how it can be done, how to do it, and we were searching for the earlier films, how they did it. And one of the best one was, even though it was not Vishwarupam, was from Maya Bazar, where Gatotkacha just comes up. And my visual effects guy, my cameraman, and me sat together for 3 days to figure out how it happened. And at the end of the day, we realized it's just a simple camera trick. It's just a trolley forward and changing the scale of the things in the background. It's cut neatly. So I realized is that all you need to have is a vision and good guys to execute it. You don't need to, as a director, you don't need to break your brains of how to achieve it. There are people to do it. What you need is a thought, and you need to, you need to challenge your technicians to achieve it, and don't compromise. So my knowledge about visual effects or techniques or camera or lighting is very, very basic. I'm not saying I don't know anything, but it is very basic. But what I know well is how to motivate my technicians. I don't tell the story, the same story. I narrate it in a different way to the artists. I narrate it in a different way to the technicians. I narrate in such a way that each and every person feels that it is they are the most important people of the project. That is my trick. That is how I try to do it.
We all do this, especially when you're making films with heroines. 2 heroines, you had it. You got to keep telling that this is the most important character. And then when you get them on location, if you say good, somebody acted, the other feels bad. Then the little girl feels bad, and the mother also feels bad. You got to keep telling everybody, oh wow, brilliant. I think I've been there. What about? What are the kind of things that you learned while you did part 1 and then you started fixing in part 2? I mean, were there things that you picked up that you sharpened in part 2?
Definitely, a lot of things. Like the most important thing that we learned was how to deal with the scale, the number of people, whether while shooting or or during the post-production, streamlining them, streamlining them. Uh, uh, in the first part, all of us were trying to do all kinds of jobs because we are suddenly in the middle of confusion, and everyone was trying to do everything, and which was adding to more confusions and all that sort of thing. By the second part, we had experience in that and tried. Management is what all of us learned, whether it's Shobu or me. The main thing that we learned from the first part is managing the people and managing the talent, and that really helped us in the second part.
So, Shobu, that when you were trying to get this film on sked, did you believe that all the resources that you needed technically were available in India? Did you source them in Hyderabad? Did you source them around the country? Did you source outside the country? I mean, because the post-production had to come in on time and on a certain budget. So what were your deciding factors in deciding your vendors?
I think in terms of resources, I think most of the resources were available in India, except for visual effects, which we went out of the country, and probably and also stunt action sequences, which were pre-visualized by a team in by a few teams in LA and LA. So, yeah, in terms of post-production. No, most of the stuff was within India, but visual effects was the most challenging, and getting them all in time, getting them in place, that is the most challenging component. And first part we had Srinivas Mohan and as our VFX supervisor, and second part we had Kamal Kannan as our VFX supervisor. So they and their teams were responsible for making sure that the which studios got the job, where they're capable of getting the jobs, doing the job, and what time frames. And then it was, I think, the second part, the film, it was distributed across 35 VFX studios across 10 countries. So I think all major studios in India were working on it. Apart from that, quite a few in 8 countries across Serbia, from Uzbekistan to Russia, Ukraine, you name it, we had them. Because the challenge was, the easiest is to go to an established Hollywood studio name and ask them to do this work. But that would cost probably 20 times or 30 times, which is completely out of our cost, prohibitive cost. What would be $1 million can go up to $20-30 million if you go to a established VFX studio. So what they did was they broke it down, the same sequence, into multiple sub-tasks. And the critical task was assigned to a very crucial, very established, well-known studio for a very small cost. And then the other peripheral activities were then assigned to multiple other studios. And they all came together in the end in another studio. So it was like, I think, to put it in perspective, we had about 700, 800 artists across 35 studios in the last 1 month, bringing it all together. So, so I think that's...
Yeah, but now downside is that it makes the job so much complicated.
Yeah.
Now coordinating between all the studios, coordinating all the egos to the point of coordinating all the egos of the artists and getting that everything into one place is the biggest challenge. So that is the cost of that $29 million.
Yeah,
So you said Srinivas Mohan.
yes.
Is he here? Or?
Yeah, Srinivas Mohan is here.
Mr. Srinivas Mohan, please rise up. He's one of the people who contributed to this, and so he's from Chennai, and that's our Chennai Connect in the thing. We have a couple of Chennai exports. We have Nazar, we have Kattappa, we have Ramya. So thank you, Srinivas. And so you also said you had these files moving around from Serbia, Uzbekistan, and all these kind of places. And you also are making it in many languages, right? How many languages did you make it? How do you get all these languages together?
We shot in both Tamil and Telugu, and we dubbed it into Malayalam and Hindi. So that's the 4 languages we made the film in.
That is,
that is once the film is released, then it gets dubbed into that. And
Like
that's handled by those distributors, yes.
So, when you did something of this scale, And you're saying that it was 200 crores, then it's becoming 300 crores, and then it's becoming 400 crores. I mean, there's no way you can pay back that debt, right? So it's like, it's getting bigger and bigger. So you obviously needed to be more and more clever in your marketing. You know, you needed to reach out more. So what kind of marketing exercise you needed to do? And besides, you know, you had really broken the stranglehold of, I mean, in Hindi. You know, one of the things that happened for us, which I forgot to tell you earlier, is that we went to Rajasthan, to a small place in Ranthambore. We were chasing tigers, and in between this, you know, there was no tiger. So we were talking to the driver and asking this guy, क्या पिक्चर चली? सलमान का? हाँ, कुछ चली, पर अच्छा फिल्म एक साउथ का फिल्म है. क्या है? बाहुबली. बढ़िया एक्शन सीक्वेंस, बढ़िया बढ़िया. I said. So, person in Rajasthan in a small forest was talking about Bahubali Part 1. Because, you know, I think in some ways this kind of war we have never seen, and the Rajputs were really excited about horses and action. So I think you had cracked something which was going national. But did you plan it that way? How did you get there?
Marketing is his section. Let him talk about the marketing, and I will talk about the stranglehold that you are talking.
From very the beginning, we knew that this is a project that would appeal to a pan-India audience if we positioned it right. Of course, with the budgets increasing, it became all the more necessary that we find new markets. But we also believe that apart from the budgets, this project had a capability, this thing to appeal to a national audience. So from the very beginning, from the word go, when we started this project, I was very comfortable with social media, Facebook and Twitter and everything else. And I knew that was I felt and believed that YouTube and social media were the best ways to keep people engaged, let the people know what is happening, and take them through the journey of Bahubali. Not after the film is done, but during the process. So what we started doing was, from the very beginning, we started releasing making videos. Normally, we tend to release making videos in the end, or after the release, or as a DVD subset. But here we started doing it through the process, without revealing the plot, without revealing much details about the story, or without losing giving out interesting points. It's more about showing the scale at which people are working, the hard work, the extent of work that was going on. And I think at some point people started connecting with it. And there was like, oh, there's something happening, something really interesting happening. Some people are working hard on this. Really, it's not just somebody saying it's a big project, but we can see that something. And I think that started finding traction. And and then that led to the trailer, that set up nicely for the trailer to release. And once the trailer launched, I think that caught fire, and then subsequently. So it was basically it's a very prolonged but constant engagement with the fans and the potential audience. I think that was what we did. And I think that worked tremendously.
Like the Apple products, what you are going to use is the phone. But the way the package, the box, the way you open the box, everything they make it interesting. Once you open the box, you never care for what the box is, but the kind of effort they put into the packaging and giving it out, or the displays they put out, it gives you so much pride in owning an iPhone. So for us, we try to put all our efforts into everything that we release. If we are releasing a making video, just a making video, we put so much of effort into it. We make special music for it. It's not just take some dick chick music and just put it like that. We write lyrics for making videos. We make visual effects for making videos. So first making video, it comes out, it goes into your system saying this is something different, this is something more than that we are seeing. Then he would use his Google Trends or whatever, and he tracks across the country where it is doing well, where it is not doing well. Okay, it's not doing so. The making video is not doing so well in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh. Okay, what kind of movies do the guys there watch in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh? They do more. They watch more mass kind of films. So the next making video we put in Rana, pumping iron and doing all those kind of things. So again, we follow the Google Trends, how the making videos are doing, how they're catching the traction with the audience. And then we compare with, at the time we were comparing it with PK, right? So how much the PK is doing and how much Bahubali is doing just as a traction in online. Then that we would present to Karan Johar and see, look at this, we are doing such a great movie and this is how it is, it is being received by people across the country. And he gets in and, he gets in and gets into the, as a presenter. And the word dharma adds to it, and by the time we add the third video, it gains more traction. So it is a continuous process of marketing. From the creatives, he gives us the input where it is doing well, where it's not doing well, what we need to do, and we do the creatives and do the marketing.
So I think it's one of the greatest marketing exercises that you can hear. It deserves a bit of study at IIM Ahmedabad or wherever it is, because it's online marketing being monitored and being fine-tuned, sharpened, and the next product being changed. I think it's remarkable. So I think I heard that you don't like colleges. You like colleges to shoot. But you would probably get a doctorate in marketing at this rate. That's fantastic. So, so during this period, you managed to keep the audience interest alive. How do you keep the interest of the industry alive? Did you go to festivals? Did you do things like that? I mean, normally, and you were also selling across countries. You were not just selling it to any one chap. Just as you split your work to various vendors, you also split your foreign and didn't get stuck with one buyer, right? So you were doing some innovation in market expansion and also talking to the industry. What were your techniques?
So within India, when we knew we wanted to go out of our core market, we knew that we had to have a strong partner in each of the areas, no matter what we did. So through conversations with Rajamouli and Rana, and Rana's dad actually, Suresh Babu. So we figured, one of the persons we thought for North India, the major market was Dharma and Karan Johar, because Karan owns the product and he's like a brand ambassador of sorts. So Rana and me went and pitched. It was a 10-minute pitch. We just showed him a few visuals, and I think he immediately saw the potential, and he came on board. So I think him with Anil Tarane, the distributor, I think they formed a fabulous strength for us as a partners for Hindi. Similarly in Tamil, we chose some strong distributors. Malayalam was one of our strong distributors. All these, so we had the strong partners, and all these partners really helped us in taking the film to the local audience, whether it's in Tamil Nadu, whether it is apart from the film and apart from the cast and apart from the technicians and everything else. I think these relationships really helped for us. When it comes to the foreign markets, we were constantly present from day one again in all the major international festivals and the markets. So we were in Cannes, we were in Berlin, we were in Toronto, we were in all the international markets, and we had hired a foreign salesperson. He is Francois. His name is Francois. So he comes from a festival background and international sales background. So he came on board, and he was working the festival markets, and I was also there, talking to various international distributors, presenting the film in different parts, from 5-minute clips to full films. And that's how we got South American markets, we got various, non-traditional markets, non-Indian diaspora markets on board. And and they all were successful to relative degrees. I mean, India was a huge blowout success. But foreign markets, we tried, some were successful, some were not so, and we'll see the second part of it.
I think this is a great cultural export, because I think one of the soft power, soft diplomacy, what they say is culture can conquer even the most rational mind. I mean, when the Cold War happened and they had equal number of nuclear submarines and they had equal number of things, but English Premier Football was beaming itself into Russia, and then Beatles was going in and films were going in, and suddenly the young people wanted all of that, and then this curtain drew. So now I think with Bahubali, you're going to have a lot of people coming from South America wanting to visit Mahismati. So have you got a theme park planned or something like that?
No, not yet. No.
You can improve tourism into India, you know. We can't do anything about the airports, but at least.
Well, we were in Romania, the Romania festival in Romania last 2 weeks back. And it is interesting to see the 3,000 Romanian people, local people, sitting in an open air theater and applauding for the same things that people here were applauding. So it's the same emotion ultimately. It's the same people.
That was a big eye opener because we think that Western audience, they are more exposed to Western kind of films. So we were thinking that they will enjoy the emotional part of it, or they enjoy the scale of it, or whatever. That's the kind of thinking that you have. But it was like any theater that you're in India, they're applauding for Bahubali climbing onto the elephant. They're applauding for Bahubali's armor coming out in the open. They're applauding for Bahubali cutting off the head. Just like any theater, they're laughing, clapping, and doing the same thing. So
that happened to me. I was exactly in that state. I saw this film first day, first show in Kottayam, and the moment Bahubali climbed on top of the elephant, I was sold. I mean, I was with the audience, you know. And I remember on our row, there were some people sitting there, and I think some of them looked like from Northeast, you know. I mean, they're probably studying in Kottayam Medical College. When the gentleman just cut his head, people jumped from the stage. They were like so happy with a decapitation, you know, with what you dread, but it was like you took one of the most horrific things and made it the most heroic things. I mean, I think it's incredible, the power of drama.
Yeah, the incredible thing is the people across regions, across religions, across cultures, they're human beings, and they're responding the same way across the world. That is, for me, the most incredible thing.
I think that's the power of the myth. And I think the power of mythology, you know, I mean, whether it's Hindu mythology or the world mythology or Romanian mythology, they have some underlying similarities, and you're tapping into that. That's a great thing. One of the most famous questions that you created in India was, who killed Katappa? And after that, now what the industry is asking is that, will Bahubali dethrone Dangal in Delhi, in China? So, what do you think the Chinese are going to like war better than father and daughter thing? How did you? What do you plan to do to that? That's the world's biggest market, right? So,
for me, I think the most important thing is like carrying from the previous discussion that we had. People are the same at any place. It is like if your film is doing well in one place and not doing well in another place, it's more of a marketing failure than reaching to the other audiences. So if it works in one place, it should work in other place. It is just not, you need to find the right people to partner with. You need to present in the right time, in the right way. The presentation has to be right. So that's what we hope for. Hope for to get the right number of screens. The China market is huge. There are 40,000 screens in China compared to we have 8,000 in India. So to make any kind of impact for it to catch on, you should be able to release in at least 12,000 to 15,000 screens. Your film should be able to open there. If you don't, even if your film is received well, even if you have reviews, even if you have good everything, initial talk, mouth talk, it's not going to catch it. You need that initial combustion for it to go there. So that is our first step, is to do that, to get it there. And coming to Dangal, I'm extremely happy that an Indian story is being so well received in China. It's emotional. The film is emotional. You loved it when watching in the theater, and that's Indian storytelling, Indian story, Indian way of storytelling, and that it's being crossed over into a different culture, and they're liking it is fantastic. And of course, we would like to be there as well, because we did equally well or more well than Dangal in India. We would like to perform well and hope to do as well or more than Dangal. But like I said, unless you open there in that 12 to 15,000 screens. That's the initial thing. I'm not saying if you get 12,000, 15,000 screens, your film is automatically going to do well. But that is the first step is that you get to do that.
Yeah, I think, when one saw movies earlier, after you left the film theater, something that lived on with you was the music. So you consumed the music for years. But in this film, you managed to take the brand beyond cinema. You managed to take the brand into all those extensions. How did you conceive of these brand extensions and...
So again, it was from the very early on when we developed the script, when the script was ready. We saw the thing, and there were so many characters, so many strong characters with strong stories behind them, backstories, and there was strong kingdoms and geographies. So the world was very strong, and immediately we knew that this is one ripe for extensions, ripe for what we call the transmedia, where you take the movie, take not just the movie but everything else around the movie. But we had to wait for the right time, because for that to happen, you need the fans, you need a certain fan base, certain engagement, certain audience. And so, although the world of Bahubali was done very early on along with the script, we waited till the success of the first part, held back, and then started looking at ways to. We were already identifying ways, but once the success of the first part, we then leveraged the success to move it to other platforms. So we have a animated series right now live in Amazon, which will also shortly come on Colors. We have the virtual reality with a very strong partner called AMD technology company. Then there's a live action. There's a book, three book series published by Westland Chennai Publishing House. And then there is graphic novels. So because of this world, and of course, all this would not have been possible. I had this thought and this thing which I wish to share with Rajamouli, but the enthusiasm with which Rajamouli jumped into it, not just in creating the film, but in creating this other aspects and giving his time to this other aspects, and be it animation, be it novel, giving his time to talk to the author, to the animation creator, or give that much time and resources to make sure that it stands on its own and it has its individual platform. And it is not a marketing tool for the film, but it is an independent revenue generating platform on its own, that it should stand on its own. I think Rajamouli gave a lot of time and resources to that. It is very difficult when you're doing a film of that scale to again give resources, spend your mind space on something else, which is actually very trivial if you look at it from one perspective. I think that all helped in building this world of Bahubali. And I think the success of the first part gave us this thing to branch out into merchandising and licensing. There also we had some strong companies helping us. So I think overall we have just laid the platform right now.
There was also this, buzz that I heard when the Malayalam version was being dubbed, that when dubbing, nobody knew the question. The scenes were shuffled and they dubbed, and nobody knew how Kattappa killed. You managed to move the reels around here, they were dubbing, and then it was all put together because no news leaked out of the dubbing studios. Dubbing is going on in 4 or 5 languages, and you managed to hold on to that. And the other interesting thing was the length of the dialogues. 27 pages?
That's for the first part, yes.
Yeah.
The length of the dialogue was very little in the first part.
It's amazing because you see that film, you think the film is really long. I mean, it's a big epic, but it just used 27 pages of dialogue. So it's really a visual film in that sense. It's this breakthrough in terms of scripting. So it's pure cinema, and it's fantastic. So how did you engineer this mystery of not leaking?
Actually, no, we didn't do anything like that. We didn't do any such thing. But I think people who were involved with the product were so mesmerized with it, or took so much of pride in it, or felt very, very responsible that they shouldn't leak it out. But we didn't do such kind of things. But things like we made sure that all the dubbings or the post-production were done in good studios, not giving it to any whichever studio that they can do with a good reputed studios like Prasad Labs or where we have some kind of control, where we have some kind of confidence that people will not go inside, take some pictures or videos and go out. So that's the only care that we took. But unless the people that we partnered with felt equally responsible, it is impossible to control anything.
I mean, on the personal front, you were a writer's son. You grew up eating and breathing cinema. What were your dreams when you were young? What did you want to become?
I think it is mostly to do with my mother, and she was uneducated, but she speaks very good English because she worked in some British family, so she used to speak good English, and she wanted me to speak good English as well. And in our small town, she knew that I can't get that in school, so she used to encourage me to go to English films. Not that I learned too much of English watching them, but I loved watching the films. And she made sure that I read a lot of comics. One is because that I improve my English, and the second thing now I realize is that because she found me really happy reading the comics, and she never ever asked me whether I was doing my homework. I don't even remember once she telling me that. And if I'm sitting idly in a chair doing nothing, she would scold me, saying that, "Why are you sitting idle? Why don't you go out and play? Why don't you read some comics?" This is the only thing I remember from my mother. So she is the person who encouraged this creativity in me. I didn't know at that time it led into my creativity, but that's how she encouraged me to do that. And from that time itself, I say this a lot of times. I don't know whether I'm a good director or not, but I'm a very good storyteller. Because right from my childhood, when I was in the second standard itself, we used to have this extracurricular activity classes. We are supposed to do all kind of extracurricular activities, but all during my second, third, and fourth 3 years of that Saturday extracurricular activities, the only thing that we used to do was me telling stories. And the whole class used to listen. And I used to change stories that I didn't like. Even Ramayanas, Mahabharatas that I used to read. And if I didn't like something, I used to change something. I didn't like Rama sending away Sita, so I used to change something and give my own interpretation to that and tell my own stories. And I loved that. I don't remember what I told them, but I remember the expressions on my friends' faces as I was telling their stories. The rapt attention that got imprinted in my mind. And what gives me immense pleasure is the reaction from the audiences. When I narrate a story, there are expressions on my actors or technicians' faces. To when my film is released, when I hear the laughter or the clapping or the emotional expressions from the audiences, gives me immense pleasure. So that is what I strive to do.
Amazing, amazing. You're a storytelling junkie, I just love it. So the moral of the story is, for all of you who are having sons and daughters, please don't ask them to do homework. Ask them to read comics, because if you want your son or daughter to be a genius, leave them alone. Ask them to play and read comics. So
what I would really say is let them do what they are most happy with. That I mean, not playing video games, but you should you should know the difference. You should know the difference whether they are just going it like a repeated habit, or whether they are really putting their heart and soul into it.
Yeah, I think your mother was teaching you storytelling and visualization. Comics are both. It's a great tool. So, Shobu, you were not born in a film background. You did environmental engineering. You were bothered about making the environment better. Did you, in your wildest dream, think that you will produce India's most successful film? How do you feel?
I never even dreamt of that. So no, it started as I think, I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to be a business, do something on my own. So I think with two failed ventures in my late 20s, then after that, I was married into a film family. So I got a little bit of exposure and was looking at a new opportunity, new way of surviving, and that's led to starting the television production house. And then we had to stick to it no matter what. So I think we slowly got to like it, love it, and then so eventually one thing led to another. And yes.
It's amazing. This kind of modesty and this kind of honesty is very rare to come, and I think it's a pleasure talking to you guys. The ultimate showman from Andhra before everybody else was Ram Gopal Verma. And Ram Gopal Verma said, history is going to be rewritten. There's not going to be BC and AD, but there's going to be BB, before Bahubali and after Bahubali. So what's going to happen to the film industry before and after Bahubali? What's after Bahubali for Rajamouli? Are you thinking of Bahubali 3 or what are you planning to do?
BB and AB is a big catchword for us all during the shooting of 5 years. For us internally, BB and AB means if we look at a good car and we immediately would say AB, AB, and we are going to buy it after Bahubali and we have to stop ourselves until that time. So that was a big between our two families. Anything we wanted to do a big holiday, go for a big holiday, buy a house or anything was like BB, BB, AB, AB. And see, for us, before Bahubali, before we did Bahubali, we had a fantastic story. My father has given me a great characters and he has given me a great story. And we concluded it with the part 2. When we started, our budget was bigger than the market, much bigger than the market. So we devised ways, we created, sometimes we were lucky, sometimes we improvised, and we created a market. We expanded the market much beyond the budget. That was unique, which no one has done before. That was a great thing. We are very proud of it. Now we have a big market. We know that, but we don't have a story. If we just make a film because we have a market, we very well know that we can make money. We can make lots of money, but that would be a very dishonest filmmaking. We don't want to do that. We are very, very happy with what Bahubali has given us. Being said that, if my father comes up with a fantastic story which makes us feel like we have to make this film at any cost, then somehow we will get together and make it. But the story has to drive it. The script has to drive it. At present, we don't have it. Next 4 or 5 years, I don't see it coming. Beyond that, I don't know.
So if any of you are Bahubali fans and if you believe in Reiki, the power of the mind, please think that Rajamouli's father, Mr. Vijayendra Prasad, gets the new script and then we can all see the film. So the power of the mind. And now, you are the exact opposite. Moment you stop working, you're not sitting around fancying, communal dinners for discussion. I believe you love trekking high altitude all alone, and you like to trek the Zanskar frozen trek, and you keep looking for treks. And now, which is the next big trek you have planned?
The dream is to go to Chile and Santiago, the southern part of America, South America. There's a beautiful treks there. So that's on the agenda, but I don't know when it's going to happen.
Recently, he told us that there are quite a number of peaks in Himalaya range which haven't been acclaimed yet. So if you are the first person to do it, you can name the hill whichever name you want to. So you want to do something and name it the Bahubali Hill.
Shobhanadri climbed the Bahubali peak. It's an incredible story. A story of two wonderful guys who are absolutely polite and dignified and penned all the rules and are great family people. And it's Always a pleasure to go to Hyderabad, and for all their family functions, all of them are together, and it's an absolute delight to know them. And pulling off the biggest exercise of this nature, normally in a film set, after one schedule, you definitely look forward. But after working together for 3-4 months, you don't want to meet anybody anymore. Here, 5 years down the line, they're still the best of friends. And we wish for film industry and for all of us film fans, ye dosti not thodenge hum, whatever it is from Sholay. So the floor is open to people to ask us questions, and the first question.
As we take the questions on your last note, as we were basking in the success 2 weeks after Bahubali 2, Shobu's wife Lakshmi said something what is unique about Bahubali. After 5 years of working together, all the actors, all the technicians, each and every one, whether it be the distributors or presenters, everyone are obviously going to go in their own paths. The paths might cross sometimes, it might not. So we are going to travel. But all of us are going away from Bahubali with utmost respect to each other. That was, when she said that really struck me. That is one of the biggest things that we are taking from Bahubali.
So the first question, sir. Yes.
My name is Raman. For nearly 5 decades, we the film lovers are waiting for a script to be moved called Ponniyin Selvan. Can I say? And stalwarts like M.D. Ramchandran, Kamala Hassan, they tried. I don't know why it has not seen the light of the day. I think the right time has come, and you have got a script. Do you have any plan to make Ponniyin Selvan?
Sir, I படிச்சேன் சார். அவரே பண்ண முடியலன்னா நான் எப்படி பண்ணுவேன்?
Sir, I don't have a question, but I wanted to first start by telling you that I watched the movie 3 times, twice in Tamil, once in Telugu. I don't understand Telugu, but people said it's better in Telugu. So the first point I want to say is, when we saw the movie, like we discussed, when we see James Cameron and Avatar, we were all wondering, how can one human being imagine an entire world and create so much? So this exact same feeling and a lot of pride that somebody in India has done something similar. Sir, thank you for doing it. I also wanted to shamelessly admit, I came here hoping I'll be able to take a picture with you.
Hello. During the beginning of the film, Shobu gave me a quote saying, it's from Paulo Coelho's quote saying, if someone bought something, the whole universe conspires to help him achieve it. So it is not one person's dream. If you really want something, there are so many people, my producer, my cast, my crew, my family, my distributors, my presenters, my exhibitors, everyone helping me in achieving it. It's not one man's achievement.
Yeah.
Question about computers and special effects. Just for one example, Bahubali 1, you have Prabhas sort of chasing the heroine, and he leaps from tree to tree and across the chasm. Now, how did you achieve that effect? And in general, what was your strategy for special effects?
I think I was answering a part of that earlier, sir. It is like you have the vision, you don't stop your vision, you don't stop your thinking, your imagination, wondering whether it could be achieved or not. Whatever you imagine, it can be achieved, but you have to have the right kind of technicians with the right state of mind and a right script supporting your visual. Once you have all those three, you
don't need to really worry about the technical aspects of it. I really don't know how my visual effects supervisors or the on-board artists really achieved it. I really don't know. And I really don't care. What I want is whether they're achieving what I'm imagining or not. We have something called pre-visualization. We do that in either storyboards or visual representation of how I want it, and I put it across to those great technicians and ask them, I just want it, you do what you will, you break your heads, you give me that. So that is my approach. Please answer. You have your producer. Yes, actually he is there. Yes.
Yeah, it's exactly same thing what he said. The main thing is for us, as a technically when we are involved, what we need is a good vision. As long as we have a good vision, that breaking out and bringing into the visual, it's not at all it's very easy. That's what, not a very big task actually. What we have so far, we have like so many years, we are waiting to get that kind of a good visionary, and he should understand what is the technical, what we have limitations. So because we have a lot of limitations in the budgets wise, and because we have tried a lot of things first. So that they understood, and when we are saying certain things, so he immediately changes like, okay, you can hide with something, you don't need to show that particular part. So that kind of understanding and that vision, and obviously we have a lot of other artists who can believe this, what the vision is, and obviously all that together, finally we are able to get, as long as if you have a good vision and good story support to that, it will be, we are able to get that.
I've been reading and writing on South Indian history for the last 20 years, and I'm so happy that you did what you did. And just like you said that our needs and our fears and our feelings are common across countries, they're common across history as well. So maybe your dad should go and look at the temple inscriptions of a king called Maravarman Sundara Pandyan. Right? He was a great king and he had a very, very interesting story. He might get some ideas out of it.
I'll definitely tell him that. Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion.
My granddaughter, நான் பாகுபலி நான் நிறையா சினிமா பார்ப்பேன் சார். நான் தியேட்டருக்கு போவேன், மேபி டிவிலையும் பார்ப்பேன், பட் ஐ லைக் வாட்சிங் மூவிஸ். பாகுபலி சினிமாவுக்கு நான் புக் பண்ணேன். எல்லாம் 10-15 பேருக்கு நாங்கள் சேர்ந்து போனோன்னு மை கிராண்ட் டாட்டர்ஸ் இல்லை, அங்கே வந்து கப்பல் பறக்கிறதான். அது என்ன மேட்னஸ், பைத்தியக்காரத்தனமாக இருக்கு. ஹவு கேன் ஐ ஷிப் ஃப்ளை அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. எனக்கு ஐ வாஸ் அ பிட் டிசப்பாயிண்டட். ஏன் பறக்கக்கூடாது? ராமாயணத்தில் அது நடக்கலையா, மகாபாரதம் நடக்கலையா, மகாபாரதம் ராமாயணம் நிஜமாக நடந்ததுன்னு நான் நம்புகிறேன். நோ. அப்புறம் நான் சினிமா போனோன்னா அந்த ஷிப்பு பறக்கிறத பார்த்தேன், அது ட்ரீம் சீனாக இருந்ததுன்னு நான் அசியூம் பண்ணிட்டேன். ஸோ ஐ கால் மை கிராண்ட் டாட்டர் அண்ட் செட் இட் இஸ் அ ட்ரீம் சீன். அது நிஜமாக கப்பல் பறக்கிறது இல்லை, இருந்தாலும் கப்பல் பறக்க முடியும். நோ வி ஹவ் கார்ஸ் விச் கேன் ஃப்ளை. மேபி த ஷிப்ஸ் கேன் ஃப்ளை டு இன் ஸ்பைட் ஆஃப் த வெயிட். பட் ஸ்டில் okay, I still ask this question. இந்த கிராவிட்டி டிஃபையிங் ஆக்ரோபேட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பண்ணிருச்ச, என்னடா இது கொஞ்சம் இவ்வளோ சில்லியாக இருக்கே, இப்படி பண்ணலாமான்னு உங்களுக்கு தோணுமா சார்? Have you ever sort of thought like that?
For me, I want to do things which are much more than what human can do, and try to make people believe it. No, sometimes I fail, sometimes I succeed. Like I succeeded, I failed in your granddaughter's because she couldn't connect to the movie. So sometimes I fail. But as a person, I like to make my heroes or my incidents or my stories be larger than life. If it is just it was just something that you're seeing in your daily life, why would you want to come to the movie in the first place? You can see it in your daily life itself. So that is my way of storytelling. That's the kind of stories I like to tell. That is the kind of stories I like to watch in the first place. So I think I'm connecting with most number of audiences, which result in the box office success. And of course, I fail in connecting with some.
Sir.
Tappilla sir. That's how it is. I love it, sir. கொஞ்சம் கூட அப்படியே அந்த மாதிரி சீன் எப்படி பண்ணுவேன்னு நான் எதிர்பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பேன். எப்போ வரும்னு எதிர்பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பேன். More than the normal scenes.
So we have with us one of the greatest actor, Mr. Nazir. Wanted to understand and hear from you what your experience has been working in this movie, sir.
Hello. Vanakkam, everybody. This is the strangest experience I had and I have and I'll be having in Bahubali. I've done about 500 films. No, that's only numbers. There is a rickshaw puller near High Court who has pedaled more than me. So numbers different. But most of the film I participate, I act. I formally call them super, wish you all the best, everything. And sometimes I see the film because when I act in a film, I don't see just because I have watched it. I keep it detached. If I happen to see, I say, I saw the film, sir, it is very good, super, all those things. Bahubali, the whole world is talking. And I have done a very major role in that. Till now, I haven't thanked, I haven't congratulated him. I'm not telling lie. These two guys are sitting there, you can ask them. Then I thought, why I'm not able to, call him and tell him, it's good, it's superb, it's doing well. And finally, I resolved, when I don't want to say, let me not say it. Then I found out a reason, because I was part of it. So I believe the success of Bahubali is something not verbal, it's something emotional, and I cannot share it by words. And then finally I had to give SMS, those things. But that's what Bahubali, it's not only me. That's what Rana went through, that's what Satyaraj went through, that's what everybody went through, even a last T-boy. Because there was a question raised to the producer, how you kept such a big unit together for 5 years. To me, that was the only magic which was very, very real. As Rajiv Menon said, and I can see some of film personalities sitting here, nobody can, however well taken or well organized film, nobody can bear a filmmaking more than 9 months. Nobody. However the heroines are good or how much ever you are paid, no. When Bahubali dates is informed, I used to get, Eppo, I don't know for what. There is one main reason. They bring amazing food from their home. See, as you're all talking about marketing and all those things, this is how to keep the whole team not in control, to be part of you. It's not about, Rajamouli never behaved like a director. We have a director is captain of the ship. No, Rajamouli was not captain. If the situation demands, he will take the oar and he will, he'll be oaring. And when you see that man oars, and automatically you take that and do. It was a real magic they were performing. And I would like to quote one thing. Once I was talking to Rajkumar Hirani, and I asked asked about something what he had already mentioned in interview in Stardust. He had mentioned, you give me 1,000 crore rupees or 100 crore rupees, I cannot conceive a scene which can be solved by a fight. I may make 100,000 crore worth film, but I cannot conceive a scene where people are fighting and by that you resolve a scene. That's why he was able to make very rare films like what he had made, Munna Bhai MBBS and this thing. So he believed, he said, what the thing was, whatever he believed, whatever he understood, he did it. He was comfortable doing it. That's what I saw in this unit. This unit had wonderful Sivagamis. I'm telling you, these, actually, there were Sivagamis behind this who made these people's dream true. And it is not Sivagami which is portrayed only on the screen. They had Sivagamis. They believed Sivagamis, and they handed over the responsibilities to the Sivagami so that they can go comfortably. So whatever you saw on the film, they had already believed and they were practicing. That's how I see. So the whole family used to be there. Why we were able to be with that, not only them, Shobu has to travel, there's no other way. Because he has pumped in money, he has to get back. And Rajamouli, he has to go. It is a compulsion for them. But for me, no. Why should I long? Because there was a tradition where people used to go, whoever is part of the filmmaking, they used to long to go to shooting. Nowadays, it's not like that. It's not like that. So in this situation, he made us to it. Satyaraj will call me. Satyarajan, he does so many films, I does so many. We don't call each other for which film you are going. But, sir, Bahubali na pore, ninga varingla. Vanga. Yeah. I don't know why it happened. No. That's, why I'm telling is, this needs, not only in film industry, this is what we are all really looking out to run a company. Even a tea boy, even a set assistant who only cleans the floor, everybody were treated alike. Everybody were taken care. That's how it went, and it was a wonderful thing. And being, I saw a board economics somewhere. So see, economy or something. I'm not good in English. When we were making the film, when we were making, myself, Satyaraj, but Prabhas and Rana, they know the complete script, so they know what is the film. We always, Satyaraj and we used to take. And they'll go, you think all these scenes will be there because they are keeping on taking, but finally they have to cut down to 2.5 hours or maximum 3 hours. You think all the scenes will be there? Terle sir, I don't know, because I cannot say. Surprisingly, when I saw both part 1 and part 2, all my scenes were there. It is not about, all my, whatever I worked, it's not like that. In such a big canvas, wastages can be, what, madam is sitting there. But, of course, part 1, it's not wasted. They were just, feeling the current of the, river or waves of an ocean or whatever it is. Rajamouli knows, because that had to be taken in 5 years. If the camera shifts from here to here, Satyaraj, seri vaanga kilamala, or 2 mani neram aagum. We'll go. So, it takes that time. It is not, I'm telling you one thing, most of the films now happens in trial and error method. But this film didn't happen. Because the more trial and error, or you try to experiment on something, it will cost them. Now I know Shobu is very careful why he went to Turkey, why to Romania. He could have gone to Hollywood film. Because so everything is economy. Everything is economy. Be it creative or the thing. It was amazing. When we went for when we were getting prepared for part 2 Bahubali, a few of the scenes were shot in part 1 itself. When we were doing part 2, already the film was edited, cut, visualized and kept. They had already, can I say this? No problem. No. They had already made a film in rough 3D, I don't know the correct technical name. They made the complete film. So, how much ever length needed, how much ever efforts needed, how much energy has to be spent, how much money has to be spent, precisely only that was taken. In spite of that, it took 5 years. No. Suppose if you have done trial and error method as now the film is films are made, it would have made, it would have gone beyond 15 years. Now Rajamouli and Shobu would have divorced and, no other way. Rama has to stay, Valli has to stay. So all things, but they were precise. I was watching that only. I was watching the highest, because this this scale of this canvas of film, at least I haven't worked. There used to be 10 industrial cranes, all, it'll be like, very alien to us, but still it held us. So it was almost everything was happening not out of their intellect or intelligence, it was all happening out of their heart. I think that's what we should do that in all the business. So now, Rajamouli, I wholeheartedly say, it's wonderful, Bahubali is a great success. And I'm happy. Only thing, I used to keep away from from crowd. So this Rowdy Rathod, it pulled me away from. After I did Rowdy Rathod, people in Bombay, Delhi, they used to. Now Bahubali, wherever I go, even if it's Turkey, I think they will, Bahubali, they will call. So, but now I have to feel happy about this. This is one of the greatness happening. That's what I messaged Rajamouli. I cannot say thanks, I cannot say congratulations. You gave me happiness after all these years of working. Now, with this I'll finish. Now, 4 days back, I was working in Ramojirao Film City with Rana for his Nani Raja Nani Mandri. I took the car in the break, I stopped the car, I walked into the set. I walked, I was all alone, no crowd, no Rajamouli, no Valli Garu. It was so silent, few watchmen here. First he stopped me, then I recognized him. I cannot explain in any words how I felt to be on that set. I laughed, I cried, I shouted. Like a madman, I came back. No 500, other 499 film had given me this. And thank you for this. And now it has opened a great, iron gate. The gates are open for India now. And now I really value the very important, the greatest message Rajamouli has said. After this is what it can be applied in any business. Now he knows with the brand of Bahubali, he can sell any damn product. No, yes, any damn thing. But he has the mental stability to stay till the next product comes. So let's not make business out of everything. Now there are so many multi-crore projects are launched. With this, I don't know, I'm fine. It's nice to be with you all. I'm really great. Shobu, what a wonderful. I'll tell you, I'll stop with this, Rajiv, I know. Once Rajamouli, this is what, sometimes sometimes whether you are a conservative or whether whatever it is, sometimes you have to break what is existing. Sometimes you have to break what you believe in. Sometimes you have to break what you are leaning on. At one lunch time, Rajamouli, just like that we have to talk something, Rajamouli said, "Sir, can you tell me how much we spend for the publicity of Bahubali 1? Now the current ratio, at present the current ratio is, if you make 2 crores film, you have to spend another 2 crores for the publicity. That is the ratio now. Whether you make a 2 crore film, if you are making a 20 crores film, and you have to spend another 20 crores to promote the film. So with that equation, I said, Rajamouli, Bahubali, really I didn't know the budget. Sir, put 10 crores? No, sir, not 10 crores, sir. Not so much money. Arey, what is this? Sir, 5 crores of it? No, sir, no, not so much. Then he said, I shouldn't say, but it was in few lakhs. I was surprised. Raj, you must be. Then even I have produced films. So suddenly immediately I calculated 6-sheeter post, 8-sheeter post, this thing, Andhra Jyoti publicity, this Hindu publicity, this per minute, per second in Sun TV, so much. Arey, it has to come at least 5 crores, no? No, he said, that's where I respect Shobu. He just kept away all the conventional, publicity. He went into that new area, fresh area, kind of like new grass which is carpeted. He has walked on that and he has made that. That's how we should all experiment and break something. Sometimes you have to break what you believe, what you have to. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether to call this a casual talk, a management lesson, but I will say it was sheer poetry. And you not only touched our hearts, but you really charged us with an intellectual spa that for many of us would never have heard but from those people like you who have done and gone through this exercise. I really appreciate your coming in here to talk to us, and I think it's one of the best sessions that we have had, and we really look forward to seeing more and more of you. When I saw you first, I thought you were Rajamouli, but when I get up, I think you are Veda Vyas. So thank you very much, and I thank the audience for the spellbound attention that you have given. Thank you.